Okay, so you've probably felt this, right? That feeling when you've got this big goal.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's, getting healthier or finally learning that skill, maybe being more productive.
Yeah, something big.
Exactly. And you just feel stuck, like completely overwhelmed by how massive it seems.
Oh, absolutely. Staring up at the mountain, basically.
Right. But what if the answer wasn't some huge heroic climb? What if it was just about tiny steps, almost invisible ones?
Well, that's kind of the core idea we're diving into today.
It is. Today, we are doing a deep dive into a really powerful way to think about personal change. We're looking at James Clear's big book from 2018, Atomic Habits.
Hugely popular, and for good reason.
Totally. And our mission here is pretty simple. Pull out the key ideas, the real gems from this book, to give you a shortcut.
A shortcut to understanding how these tiny, consistent changes can actually lead to, well, pretty extraordinary results over time.
We're focusing on the core stuff, the things that make this book feel like a real roadmap for change.
Yeah, the practical framework.
And right from the start, Clear hits us with this fundamental idea. It really flips how most of us think about goals. He says, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
That line is so powerful. It really stops you in your tracks.
It does. But what does it really mean, practically speaking? It sounds good, but...
Well, it means goals are great for direction, pointing the ship, but it's the systems, the daily routines, the habits, the processes that actually steer the ship and determine if you get there.
Okay.
So think about saving money. The goal is save more money. Pretty vague, right?
Yeah, just try harder.
Exactly. But if your system is setting up an automatic transfer to savings every payday, that's what works. That system drives the result, whether you feel motivated that day or not.
I see. So it's less about the end point and more about the repeatable actions that get you moving towards it.
Precisely. It shifts the focus from just wishing for the outcome to building the engine that creates the outcome.
That actually feels kind of freeing. Like you don't need superpowers, just better setups.
Yeah, better architecture for your life almost.
And this ties right into that idea of tiny steps, what he calls the power of 1% improvement. It sounds almost too simple. Just get 1% better each day.
It does sound simple, but the math behind it is pretty staggering, actually.
How so?
Because it's not additive, it's compounding. If you improve by just 1% every day for a year, you don't end up 3.65 times better. You end up nearly 38 times better.
Wow. Okay, that's huge.
It is. It's like interest earning interest. These little 1% wins stack up in a way that's hard to see day to day, but over months or years, the difference is massive.
So those tiny efforts aren't insignificant at all, even if they feel like it at the start.
Not at all. They're the seeds of remarkable progress. It really helps fight that feeling of overwhelm, knowing that small, consistent effort is the pass.
Okay, I'm sold on the 1% idea. It makes big goals feel much more doable. So if we buy into this compounding power, how do we actually build those 1% improvements into our lives?
Right, because the concept is nice, but you need the how-to.
Exactly. And Clear gives us that, right? He has this framework, the
4 laws of behavior change.
Yeah.
This is his practical blueprint.
Right, the 4 laws. This seems like where the real mechanics are.
It is. And it's brilliant because it moves beyond just try harder or relying on willpower, which, let's be honest, fails us all sometimes.
Or often.
Yeah, often. So law number 1 is make it obvious.
To make it obvious. Okay, what does that look like?
It means designing your environment so the cues for your good habits are right there. Unavoidable almost.
Like the classic example. Want to eat more fruit? Put a fruit bowl on the counter where you see it constantly.
Exactly. Make the good choice the path of least resistance visually.
Yeah.
Put the junk food away in a cupboard out of sight. Make the cue obvious.
That works great for physical things like fruit or, say, putting your running shoes by the door. But what about habits that are more mental, like wanting to be more patient or think more critically? How do you make those obvious?
That's a really good question. It takes a bit more creativity, maybe. For critical thinking, you could make it obvious by setting a specific visible reminder. Maybe leave a particular notebook open on your desk with a question you're pondering.
Or schedule 5 minutes in your calendar that pops up, reflect on X.
Precisely. Create a visible trigger, even for an internal process. It's about intentionally placing cues in your path.
Got it. Okay, law number 2, make it attractive. This sounds more psychological.
It is. It's about linking the habit you need to do with something you genuinely want to do. Temptation bundling, he calls it.
So like only letting yourself watch your favorite Netflix show while you're on the exercise bike.
Perfect example. You make the habit you're building more appealing because it's paired with something you already enjoy. It taps into our brain's reward system.
Makes sense. Okay, law 3.
Make it easy. This one is huge. It's all about reducing friction. Make the habit so simple to start that it's harder not to do it.
Fewer steps between you and the action.
Exactly. Want to floss? Put the floss right next to your toothbrush, not hidden in a drawer. Want to practice guitar? Leave it out on a stand, not packed away in its case.
Reduce the activation energy.
You got it. Every little bit of friction you remove makes it exponentially more likely you'll do the habit. I remember trying to meditate in the morning,
Yeah.
getting out of bed, walking across the cold floor to my meditation spot.
Mm-hmm.
It was just enough friction to make me skip it sometimes.
Uh-huh.
Then I just put the cushion right beside my bed. Made it ridiculously easy. Game changer.
Simple but effective. Okay, and the last one, make it satisfying.
Crucial for making habits stick. Our brains are wired to repeat rewarded behaviors. So you need some kind of immediate payoff, even a small one, to reinforce the action.
So like tracking your habit on a calendar and feeling good, seeing the streak.
That's a great example. Or having a small, healthy treat after a workout. Something that tells your brain immediately, hey, that was good, let's do that again. It closes the feedback loop.
And he also says you just flip these to break bad habits, right? Make them invisible, unattractive, difficult, unsatisfying.
Exactly. It's a really elegant system. It works because it acknowledges we're not willpower machines. We respond to our environment, to rewards, to ease. It's about engineering success instead of just hoping for it.
Okay, so we have the systems, the 1% gains, the 4 laws.
Oh.
But then Clear adds another layer, doesn't he? Something about identity.
Yes, and this is arguably one of the most profound shifts in the book, identity-based habits.
This one really made me think. It's not just about doing things.
No, it's about becoming someone. The core idea is to shift your focus from the outcome you want, I want to lose weight, to the type of person you want to be, I am a healthy person.
So instead of I want to write a book, it's I am a writer.
Exactly. When you adopt the identity, the behaviors associated with that identity feel more natural, more congruent. A writer writes, a healthy person makes healthy choices. It makes consistency less about forcing yourself and more about acting in alignment with who you see yourself as.
That feels deeper. Like it anchors the habit in something more fundamental than just ticking a box.
It does. It makes the change potentially much more lasting because it becomes part of your self-concept.
Is there a risk there, though? Like, what if you tie your identity too tightly? If you miss a workout, does that mean you're not a healthy person anymore? That sounds stressful.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
I think the way Clear presents it, it's more about the identity guiding the majority of your actions, not demanding perfection. A healthy person might occasionally eat cake, right?
Sure.
It's about the overall trajectory and self-belief. Missing one day doesn't negate the identity. It's just a blip. The identity helps you get back on track because that's who you are. It's a resilient identity, not a brittle one.
Okay, that makes more sense. It's a guiding principle. And this connects back to what you said earlier about the environment.
Absolutely. Environment matters more than willpower.
Yeah.
Clear really hammers this home.
Yeah. It's not just about making cues obvious. It's realizing how much our context shapes us, often unconsciously.
Totally. We think we make rational choices, but we're heavily influenced by our surroundings. The layout of your kitchen influences what you eat. The apps on your phone's home screen influence how you spend your time.
So that fruit bowl example isn't just a neat trick. It's tapping into a fundamental principle of behavior.
Exactly. Re-engineering your environment is one of the most powerful, yet often overlooked, ways to change your behavior without constantly battling yourself.
So a challenge for everyone listening. Take a look around your main spaces. How could you tweak your environment right now to nudge you towards a habit you want, or away from one you don't?
It's a great exercise. Even small tweaks can make a surprising difference.
Okay, now there's another concept that I found really helpful, especially for managing expectations, the plateau of latent potential.
Yes. This is so important for sticking with things when it gets tough.
Because you start a new habit, you're putting in the effort, day after day, and nothing seems to be happening, right?
Exactly. You're doing the work, but the results aren't visible yet. It feels like you're running in place. That's the plateau.
And it's where most people give up, probably.
Very likely, because we expect linear progress. But habits compound, like we said earlier. The most significant gains often only appear after weeks or months of consistent effort that felt unproductive.
Like the ice cube example he uses. It stays solid at 25, 28, 31 degrees, then hits 32 and melts. The big change happens after a period of unseen progress.
Precisely. Breakthroughs happen, but usually only after you've pushed through that plateau where the potential was building up, unseen. Understanding this helps you persist when you don't see immediate rewards.
That's crucial for motivation, knowing the results are accumulating under the surface.
It really is. Patience and persistence through the plateau are key.
So, looking at the book Atomic Habits overall, let's talk strengths and maybe limitations. What really stands out?
Well, the biggest strength is definitely how practical and actionable it is. It's not just theory. It's packed with concrete strategies you can apply immediately.
Yeah, the four laws, temptation bundling, habit stacking.
Yeah.
It's very hands-on.
And it's applicable everywhere. Health, work, learning, relationships. The principles are universal. Plus, he blends the science with relatable stories really well.
Agreed. It feels grounded. What about limitations, though? No book is perfect.
True. For some, the core ideas might start to feel a bit repetitive as you go through the book.
Hmm.
He circles back to the main concepts quite a bit.
Okay.
And maybe more significantly, it focuses very heavily on the mechanics and systems of habit change. It doesn't really dive deep into the underlying emotional reasons or, say, trauma that might be driving certain ingrained bad habits.
Right, so it's more about the how of changing behavior, less about the deeper why behind some of those behaviors existing in the first place.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
incredibly effective for system-level change,
Well,
but might not address everything for someone with deeper psychological roots to their habits.
that's a fair distinction. So, thinking about who this deep dive and the book is really for, who benefits most?
Honestly, almost anyone trying to make a change. But specifically, definitely anyone who feels stuck or overwhelmed by big goals. It shows the power of starting small.
Yeah, it makes change feel less intimidating.
And it's great for people who are already achieving things but maybe feel like they're hitting a wall or risking burnout. It teaches optimization through systems, not just brute force.
Working smarter, not just harder.
Right. And finally, it's really valuable for anyone struggling to break bad habits. It offers a clear, non-judgmental framework that actually works.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. Our deep dive into Atomic Habits really highlights James Clear's core message. Lasting change comes from focusing on tiny, consistent improvements, 1% better each day.
And crucially, focusing on building effective systems rather than just chasing goals.
Making those good habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. And ultimately, shaping your identity, becoming the type of person who does those things naturally.
It's a powerful roadmap.
It really is. So thinking about that plateau of latent potential, that period where effort doesn't seem to yield results, here's a final thought for you to consider.
What one tiny, seemingly insignificant action could you commit to starting today or tomorrow?
Knowing that its real impact, its compounding power, might only become visible way down the line. What small habit could be building towards your next big breakthrough, even if you can't see it yet?